Hey friends, how's it going? Well, we've tried to be slick here. It's not a great box, but well, whatever. Whatever. Such is life. Such is life. I know. I skipped a week. I'm sure all of you know why. Yeah, well. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, just burning the old Victor. Classic. I guess you could say in honor of someone very special. Yeah. Of course, that would be my mother. You know, she watched my channel. She did. You know, because she loves her son. And she celebrated me and my interests the best she could. So many of you who are friends of mine on Facebook are aware of the news I delivered yesterday. Those who have been waiting for an update here, my mom did succumb to her ailments at 7:48 p.m. Friday evening. And yeah, I did make content for Thursday, but I didn't post it yet, and I decided not to because I had received some news that was not hopeful. And well, it's one of those things. And as nice as it was a week ago Monday, was very special because a great many things. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I can't smoke in my garage, so I'm going to have an apple instead today. Yeah. And it helps. It's a good Cosmic Crisp. You should try these. These are really nice. But anyways, Monday, a week ago, my lady and I, we went to the hospital to see my mom. Then she was awake and waved at us, and my lady told my mom how she feels about me. And she wanted to make her know that her intentions are sincere and genuine. You know, before she wasn't able to. And one, that was very beautiful. It meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to her too. And it meant a lot to my mom. It did. And it was one of those moments that you can't really replace with anything else. And it just happened organically and as it should. And she's been a great support to my family and I at this time, as much as she can. She has a full schedule and a lot of things to juggle. And I look forward to the day where I can introduce her to all of you. Just now it's not the right time. But you will. You'll meet her eventually. But for now, she knows who she is. She's a subscriber here. She's one of you all. So she's amongst us. But at any rate, I'm burning this Victor in honor of my mom because she achieved victory over life. She's in a better place. She's at rest. She's at peace. And knowing how much my mom hated clinical environments like hospitals, doctors' offices, or any professional Medicare staff, the staff at Arcadia USC Hospital, previously known as Methodist, since I was a kid, you know, they were great. They did their best, and they had a lot of moments that were just incredible that I witnessed, and they were very, very sweet and very professional and very helpful. It is a fantastic facility, but you know, I'm glad that someone is in my life who's able to help me through this time and communicate to my family and I that, you know, she's with us. And, you know, lately I've been reflecting on a lot of things about my childhood. You know, childhoods are always fraught with good times and frustrating times and painful times. You know, I'm not going to go into everything, but you know, we are at odds with our own moms sometimes because we are denied what we think we want or should have. But you know, there's a lot of things that my mom taught me that I take to this day, that I realize and I reflect on. I mean, the way I drive my car, that's mom. Mom taught me how to really drive well. I drive defensively and also on the offense too. You know, she learned from my grandfather, her father, of course. He was an expert driver. He really was. And I learned a great many things relating to survival on the roadways. And it saved my bacon a great many times. Excuse me? Can't do anything about that. Anyways, but it's done a lot of things to, you know, spare me see another day. You know, so I take that with me, as my driving capabilities, my driving habits all come from my mom, and I'm her son, so genetically there's some things that just translate over to the offspring, of course. But we've had many conversations about the road conditions and those who are upon it. And we've, you know, compared a lot of notes, and, you know, I am definitely grateful for what she taught me in driving. I'm grateful for the lessons she taught me in other arenas. You know, there was a time when I was starting to date or looking into dating. I was a teenager, you know, 16 years old, full of angst and, you know, oats to sow, if you will. But I remember asking a member of my church out in my seminary class. And she pretty, blonde, attractive, you know, Barbie girl, I guess you could say, a little bit. A very modest Barbie, anyway. But you know, it was Valentine's Day, and in class we're handing out Valentines and stuff, and I says, hey, I don't know what your plans are today, but would you like to have a picnic? I think that would be fun. She's like, oh, yeah, that'd be great. Okay, sure. She gave me her number, and I set up a picnic time. So I that afternoon I got a picnic all set up. I made a whole meal with my mom's help, of course. I wasn't a cook yet. I was only 16, for crying out loud. Get out of here. But as everything's being prepared and being completed, the phone rings. And I answer it. And it's my friend that I asked out that morning. Says, "Hey, I'm really sorry. I forgot I have a date with my boyfriend." Boyfriend? Huh. Forgive me, but if you have a boyfriend, why are you agreeing to go with me on a date on Valentine's Day? Yeah. Well, nothing against anyone who has blonde hair, but it was that day that I decided that I wasn't into blondes anymore. No offense, Mom, I love you. She was blonde. But, and then when I was a kid, I was blonde too, so I can make these references, I guess, because I too was one of them. All joking aside, you get it. Anyways, it's like, the hell, you have a boyfriend and you did it. Anyways, so I was like deflated. I was bummed out, of course. I was like, one of my first stabs at asking somebody out on Valentine's Day. It's just like, I wasn't planning to marry this person. That wasn't my intent. I just wanted to have a nice picnic and get to know her. Maybe have a fun time. Maybe something would come from it. Who knows? You never know. Never go into these things with expectations or plans. Long-term plans, anyways. But my mom was like, "Well, what happened?" And I says, "Jenna, blah, 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 blah." I'm not going to say her name. And I just said, well, she had plans with her boyfriend today. Naturally, if she has a boyfriend, she's going to be with him on Valentine's Day. Shocker. But this was in 1994. Yeah, I think it was 94. But, it was. So, my mom, in her wisdom, says, "Don't worry, take your meal to Grandma's house." What? You want me to spend Valentine's Day with my grandma? How uncool, Mom. Come on, get with it. That ain't cool. Spend Valentine's Day with your grandma? Ew. She says, "No, I'm calling up Grandma and you're going to go down there." Now, granted, at this time, let's be clear, I had two grandmas and two grandpas. But no, I had two grandmas and one grandpa. My grandpa Smith passed away in 1992, months after their 50th anniversary. Yeah. And so my grandma Smith was solo. Yeah. And my mom suggested I take it to Grandma Smith's house. My father's mom. And I was like, "No, I don't want to do that. I just kind of want to sulk, listen to some sad music, and get through it." So, "No. You're going to Grandma's house, and you're going to take this meal down there, and you're going to share it with her." She insisted. I didn't really have a choice in the matter. So she makes the call, and Grandma's all about it. So she takes me down there. I didn't drive at the time. I didn't have my license yet. So my mom drives me down to Mayflower Village to the Smith house. And Grandma opens the door and smells like Lysol and Lucky Strikes, as she always has. Gives me a hug. And I take a freezer bag and stuff with the meal that I had prepared with my mom's help. And we go in and sit down, and my mom drops me off and says goodbye, and it's just me and my grandma. And I show her what I brought, and it was split pea soup and cornbread and things like that. And so I have a meal with my grandma, and she sits there and talks about the Great Depression and growing up and stuff like that. And she told me some amazing stories And then after that, I had brought my little reproduction cathedral radio with a tape deck in it, those ones that were really popular in the 90s. Those Spirit of St. Louis or Thomas or Crosley reproduction, commemorative type of replicas with AM and FM and all the bells and whistles of a modern radio, but transistorized, solid state in, type of things. Anyhow, I brought that with me. She gave that to me. I still have it, in fact. And I brought some tapes that I made of radio shows and music and everything of the 30s and 40s, and we played some old radio shows, and we sat there, and I sat there in my grandpa's chair, and Grandma sat in her chair in the living room, and we listened to these old programs, and my grandma remembered them. She forgot about a few of them, but she went back, and we had a beautiful time just sitting there, listening to these things that she remembers when they were relevant. And she would tell me stories. And my mom had the right idea. She knew what she was doing. And that is an experience I would never trade for any date with anyone, because that was the only time I really got to spend one-on-one time with my grandmother Smith, Merlene. And, I spent a lot of time around her with the family and everything, but I never really got to spend one-on-one time with her. And that was the one time because the next year she passed away. So, yeah. It was smart. It was the right thing. I could go on. I can share all sorts of different stories about my mom. But, it was... It's hard. But I know she's comfortable, and she's seeing a lot of people now that she's missed for a long time. I know she's safe. I know she's in the right place. She's not in pain anymore. And she's out of the hospital, which she hated to begin with. But she was here long enough. And we would have loved to have had her around longer, but slowly decaying and, winding up in a rest home or some sort of thing like that just wasn't in the plans for her. She would have absolutely hated that as well. We all, not to get morbid, we all have an expiration date. We don't know when that is or how it's going to happen, but we do. It's part of the cycle of life. It is. Yeah. So, that's it. That's the latest. That's the update. But things could be, they could have been worse. But my family is doing okay. My father's hanging in there. He's doing actually really well. I'm very proud of him. But he knows that she's not gone entirely. This is just a phase. Life is just an experience, and our souls go on to somewhere else. I'm not going to get into any doctrine or in any religious content here, but my father is confident and secure and in God and His plan. So I'm really happy for that. I'm grateful for that, and I have my own thoughts and beliefs and all of that as well, but his faith is keeping him strong, and that's important. And my brother and I have been showing our support, of course, naturally, And so has my lady, and she's been a strength to all of us. And yeah, you know, it's greatly appreciated. But I'm going to miss my mom. No doubt about that. She was funny, was, you know, kind and interested in people, and, you know, she get people laughing pretty good. She had my grandfather's wit, and she passed that on to me. Yeah, she has. And I'm really grateful for that. So every time I say a stupid pun, that's her coming out. Know the source. Anyway. Yeah. Thank you guys for your love and support. I have to say that the comments that I received on the last video I did 2 weeks ago was very appreciated. It meant a lot. It did a lot. Just because she was done with this life doesn't mean that it was a failure. Your prayers and your lighting of your lanterns and all the positive energy that you sent towards my family and I, it provided some very special experiences before the ultimate end. There was hope. There was moments that I couldn't have imagined. So don't feel that it was for naught. It did a lot of good. And I really appreciate the support from all of you, who I've only a handful of maybe I've met personally. But you're here because of these things, but I guess also because of me. We've all grown together, and I appreciate you. I appreciate your interactions and your comments and your insight and your, you know, participation with what I've been doing here since, I guess, late 2018. Yeah. So, in those words, I'll wrap it up. Thank you again. I'll be back next week as well with some more content, and I'll share some more historical things, and we'll get back on with the program. But thank you again for your love and support, and sharing all of your faith and prayers with my family and I. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be a time of bereavement, of course, but my mom would want me to continue what I've been doing, and wouldn't want me to be sad too much, or distracted too much. She wouldn't want that for me, or any of her kids, my brother and I. So, yeah, I'm going to be all right, guys. But I thought I'd make this video and give you an update of what's going on, what's happened, and all of that. So, with that being said, thank you. Thank you. We'll see you in a week's time, right here, with something historical to share. All right, guys, have a good week and a good weekend, and we'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye. Sit, boo boo, sit. Good dog.